Hey friends, welcome back to Jackson English Stories. I'm really glad you're here. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your whole day just slips away? You wake up late, rush through breakfast, answer 100 messages, try to focus, but somehow, when night comes, you're exhausted. And you can't even remember what you got done. Yeah, I've been there too. More than I'd like to admit. But then, something shifted. I started paying attention, not just to what I was doing, but when, how, and why. And what I discovered? It wasn't magic. It wasn't some productivity hack. It was routine. The quiet rhythm of ordinary habits, done with intention. In today's video, we're going to explore the power of daily routines, not just the ideal ones you see online, but the real ones, the messy ones, the ones that work for people like you and me. You'll hear stories, you'll learn real phrases in English, and maybe, just maybe, you'll walk away with one small change that makes a big difference. So, let's begin. You know, most people think that big change comes from big actions. But in my experience, it's the tiny things, the things we barely notice, that shape who we become. Let me tell you about my friend Carla. A few years ago, she felt like her life was always in chaos. She'd wake up late, skip breakfast, and spend her day chasing after tasks instead of leading them. She thought she needed more motivation, but what she really needed was rhythm. So she started small, waking up at the same time each day, drinking a glass of water, writing down just 3 things to do. Nothing fancy. But something strange happened. She felt calmer, more in control. Because routines aren't just about saving time. They're about saving energy. They take away the mental clutter and give your brain a pattern to follow. And when your mind isn't overwhelmed, you start making better choices. The truth is, we all have routines already. The question is, are they helping you or holding you back? So in the next section, let's look at where it all begins, that very first hour after you wake up. Because what you do in that hour, it often decides how the rest of your day unfolds. There's something special about the first hour of your day. It's like standing at the top of a hill. How you take that first step can shape the entire path ahead. I used to roll out of bed, check my phone, scroll through social media, and suddenly, boom! 30 minutes gone, and I was already feeling behind. But then I tried something different. I set my alarm just 15 minutes earlier. No phone, just a glass of water, a deep stretch, and one quiet moment to breathe. And honestly, that one shift changed everything. It wasn't about doing more. It was about starting better. Because the first hour isn't just about tasks. It's about tone. It's your chance to set the rhythm instead of reacting to the world. Even something as simple as brushing your teeth mindfully or making your bed can signal to your brain, I'm in charge. The mornings we own are often the days we win. And now that we understand how powerful that first hour can be, let's look at the small things we fuel our day with, starting with how we eat. Food isn't just fuel, it's direction. What you eat in the morning can set your energy, your mood, even your focus for hours to come. I remember a time when my typical breakfast was whatever I could grab, sometimes leftover pizza, sometimes just coffee. I'd crash by 10 a.m., jittery, distracted, and starving again. But one morning, I watched my friend Emma make breakfast. Nothing fancy, just a bowl of oatmeal with fruit and a boiled egg. She said, "I eat like I'm building my day, not just surviving it." That stuck with me. Now I think of breakfast as more than a meal. It's a choice. Do I want to feel heavy and slow, or light, clear, and ready? Even a small shift, like choosing toast with peanut butter over a sugary donut, can make a real difference. And it's not just breakfast. Lunch matters too. Because what we put in our bodies becomes the energy we use to work, think, and live. So as we move into the heart of the day, let's talk about how we use that energy, starting with how we focus. For years, I believed that the more hours I worked, the more successful I'd be. So I pushed. I skipped breaks, ate lunch at my desk, and worked into the evening. But the truth? I wasn't getting more done. I was just getting more tired. Then I met someone who changed the way I looked at focus. Her name was Lila, and she ran a busy design studio. I asked her how she stayed productive, and she smiled and said, "I don't work more. I work better." She used a simple rhythm, 45 minutes of deep focus, 15 minutes of rest. And during those 45 minutes, no distractions, no email, no phone, just one task. I tried it. At first, it felt weird, even uncomfortable. But within a week, I noticed something. I was finishing more with less stress. That's the power of focused energy. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with full attention. And once you learn how to work with your energy, not against it, you unlock a kind of freedom most people never feel. But even the best focus fades without fuel, which brings us to a challenge many people face, right after lunch. Let's talk about how to survive that mid-afternoon slump. Not all breaks are created equal. I used to think a break meant scrolling through my phone, maybe checking social media, watching a quick video or two. But every time I came back to work, I felt foggy, unfocused, like I'd stepped out of my flow instead of recharging it. Then one afternoon, during a particularly long writing session, I stepped outside for 5 minutes. I didn't bring my phone. I just walked to the end of the block and back, breathing in the fresh air. That tiny pause, it changed everything. I sat back down feeling sharper, calmer, like I had reset my brain. That's when I learned. A real break isn't about escaping. It's about restoring. Whether it's stretching, sipping tea, listening to one calming song, or just standing by the window, a true break gives your mind space to breathe. And when you take breaks that work, your work starts to feel lighter. But of course, there's one time of day when even the best breaks don't seem to help, and that's right after lunch. Let's take a closer look at why that afternoon dip happens and how to beat it. There's a moment, usually around 1:30 or 2 p.m., when everything just slows down. Your eyes get heavy, your focus fades, and even simple tasks start to feel impossible. That's the post-lunch trap, and we've all been there. I used to blame myself, thinking I was just lazy or unmotivated. But then I learned it's actually a natural dip in our body's rhythm, especially if we've had a heavy lunch or skipped movement. One day, after a big meal of pasta and soda, I nearly fell asleep at my desk. The next day, I tried something different. I had a lighter lunch, just grilled chicken and a quinoa salad, and then took a short walk around the block before getting back to work. The difference was night and day. I felt awake, clear, and ready to tackle the rest of the afternoon. That's when it clicked. What you eat and what you do right after can either pull you into a slump or lift you out of it. So if afternoons feel like a struggle, don't push harder. Adjust smarter. And once you've made it through the heart of the day, it's time to slow things down. Let's talk about how your evening routine can help you reset, recharge, and prepare for tomorrow. Evenings used to be my messiest hours. After a long day, I'd crash on the couch, order takeout, mindlessly scroll through my phone and tell myself, I deserve this. And maybe I did. But the problem wasn't relaxing. It was the way I ended the day without intention. I'd go to bed feeling cluttered and wake up already behind. Then I started a simple habit. Before dinner, I'd take 5 minutes to tidy my space, put away dishes, close my laptop, write down tomorrow's top 3 tasks. It was quiet, easy, and powerful. That little ritual helped me mentally close the day and made mornings feel lighter. I also swapped late-night screen time for a book or a slow walk. And just like that, my evenings became a soft landing, not a chaotic crash. Because the way you end your day doesn't just affect your night, it shapes how your next day begins. And speaking of better nights, there's one habit many of us struggle with: our relationship with technology and sleep. So let's talk about that hidden battle and how to finally win it. I used to think checking my phone before bed was harmless. Just a few messages, a quick scroll through Instagram, maybe one YouTube video. But somehow, just 5 minutes would turn into 45. And when I finally closed my eyes, my brain was still buzzing, full of noise, light, and other people's lives. I didn't sleep deeply, and I woke up tired, even if I'd been in bed for 8 hours. It wasn't until I read about how screens delay melatonin, our body's natural sleep hormone, that I started making changes. I set a tech-off alarm at 9:30 p.m., charged my phone outside the bedroom, and replaced screen time with a cup of tea and a few pages of a book. Within days, I felt calmer at night and more energized in the morning. The truth is, we think technology helps us relax, but most of the time, It keeps us wired. The battle isn't just physical, it's mental. And once you learn to step away, your sleep becomes sacred again. So now that we've talked about how to rest well, let's talk about something equally important. What happens when you lose your routine, and how to gently rebuild it? Here's the truth no one talks about. Routines break. Life gets messy. You travel, get sick, fall behind, or just lose motivation. And that's okay. I remember last winter I got hit with the flu and completely abandoned my routine. No morning walk, no healthy meals, no journaling, just survival mode. When I started feeling better, I felt guilty for falling off track. But then a friend told me, it's not about never breaking the routine, it's about how gently you return to it. That changed everything. I stopped trying to jump back into the perfect routine. Instead, I picked one simple habit: drinking water first thing in the morning. Just that. And from there, I built the rest back slowly, one block at a time. Routines aren't about perfection, they're about rhythm. And rhythm can always begin again. So whether you've been off track for a day or a month, your next step doesn't have to be big. It just has to be kind. And now, as we reach the final part of our journey, let's talk about why all of this truly matters, not just for productivity, but for who you're becoming. At some point, I realized that routines aren't just about getting things done. They're about becoming someone. Every time you wake up early, you're casting a vote for being someone who values discipline. Every time you eat mindfully, you're telling yourself you're someone who takes care of their body. These tiny choices, they're not just actions. They're signals. They build your story, one page at a time. I used to think I needed a big breakthrough to feel like I was growing, but now I know it's the quiet habits that shape you the most. My friend Maya once told me, I never saw myself as a writer, but when I started writing for 10 minutes every morning, I began to believe it. That's the power of routine. It shifts your identity from the inside out. You don't need to change everything. Just start with one habit that feels right. Do it with love, not pressure. And over time, you'll become the kind of person you've always wanted to be. So as we wrap up this journey, I want to leave you with one simple invitation, something you can carry into your own life, starting today. So, if you're still here, thank you. Truly. You didn't just watch a video today, you invested in yourself. You took the time to reflect on how your days unfold, and maybe you found one small shift that could make a big difference. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier, or turning off your phone before bed, or simply being a little kinder to yourself when things don't go as planned. Whatever it is, hold on to it. Practice it. Live it. Because the story of your life isn't written in one big moment. It's written in quiet, ordinary days. And every new routine is a step toward the person you're becoming. If this video gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me, what's one habit you're going to start this week? And if you enjoyed this kind of thoughtful, real, and encouraging content, don't forget to subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and more importantly, it helps this community grow. Share it with someone who might need a gentle nudge. And until next time, take care. Keep building those small wins. And remember, you are already becoming who you were meant to be.